Hello everyone. Today's topic is deep vein thrombosis. This is one of the silent features in the cardiovascular disorder which is unknown for the long term. This mainly you will be thinking what is deep vein thrombosis. So this is mainly like a iceberg of disease. As you have seen, iceberg is seen how much outside the level of water, the more is inside the water. And same is your deep vein thrombosis. You cannot easily find out from the superficial skin, but it will be deep hidden inside your skin layers. So this is your thrombosis formation. Mainly you are knowing what is thrombosis. It is a blood clot. So as the name says, deep vein thrombosis, that means deep inside your vein there is a clot formation. There is a blood clot inside the deep vein, that is called deep vein thrombosis. See here introduction. Venous thromboembolism encompasses deep venous thrombosis and pulmonary embolism and causes cardiovascular death and disability. So this is one of the cause of the cardiovascular death and disability. So many people who are who are having cardiovascular conditions, there are mainly hidden symptoms of DVT present in them, that is deep vein thrombosis. People are mostly unaware of those symptoms in them. We'll see here what is the definition. Deep vein thrombosis is the formation of a blood clot in one of the deep veins of the body, usually in the leg. So this deep vein thrombosis is mainly found in the leg. So as you know, the blood is all over running over our body. That means every organs of our body need a blood circulation. So this deep vein thrombosis is mainly found in the leg. The vein in the leg is mostly getting affected with this blood clot. See here in the diagram, you can see here there is a normal vein and one is the vein which is having deep vein thrombosis. So in normal vein, the blood flow will be regular as always. But when the vein get thrombosis, that is blood clot, due to the blockage of that clot, the blood is not able to go through that clot, and so there is no proper blood supply. That is your deep vein thrombosis. Superficial thrombosis is known as thrombophlebitis or phlebitis, a clot that develop on surface of skin. Deep vein thrombosis is the formation of blood clot in one of the deep vein of the body, usually leg. So you can have clot formation in other parts of the body also, but when there is a superficial blood clot, that is called thrombophlebitis or phlebitis. But when there is a deep vein thrombosis formation, that is called deep vein thrombosis. See here, you can see here in the etiology. Etiology means nothing but the causes that can lead to deep vein thrombosis. So it is starts in lower extremity, that is calf veins. So mainly you can see in the lower extremities in the calf veins, then progressing proximally to involve, then it will really gradually it will grow. Then popliteal femoral iliac system will be affected. The veins in, you can see in the popliteal vein, it will be getting affected with the deep vein thrombosis. Then for this there is a Virchow's triad. This Virchow's triad is given by a scientist Virchow. He has described that what are the factors that is causing deep vein thrombosis. So we'll see here three factors. These are venous status, hypercoagulable state, endothelial damage. So these are the three factors that are causing deep vein thrombosis. So we'll see the first one, venous status. So in venous status, the person should be prolonged bed rest, that is 4 days or more. A cast on the leg. The cast on the leg means your leg will be folded. Then limb paralysis from stroke, the limb may get paralytic due to stroke. Then spinal cord injury, extended travel in a vehicle. So these all can be the reasons of deep vein thrombosis in a person in venous status. Then hypercoagulability, that means the blood is getting coagulated soon. So surgery and trauma, that is 40% of all thromboembolic diseases. Then malignancies, increased estrogen, inherited disorders of coagulation, deficiencies of protein S, protein C, antithrombin 3, Acquired disorders of coagulation, that is nephrotic syndrome, antiphospholipid antibodies. So these all conditions, disease conditions are present in the persons, so he is likely to have deep vein thrombosis. Then we'll see the third one, that is endothelial injury, that is when the skin layer is getting affected in the cases like trauma, surgery, invasive procedure, iatrogenic causes, that is central venous catheters, subclavian intrajugular lines. These lines cause of upper extremities DVT. So when the person is having these situations or these factors, so he is likely to get deep vein thrombosis in the upper extremities. Then here you can see the clinical manifestations, what symptoms you'll be noticing. So mainly when the person will be having clot, the pain is obvious. So person will be having pain, tenderness of lower limbs, swelling with pitting edema, pitting pedal edema, then warmth, redness of limb, superficial venous dilation, only 40° have symptoms. Look for tachycardia, tachypnea, breathlessness. So these are the symptoms you can mainly notice in the patient with deep vein thrombosis. As blood clot will be there in the lower extremities, you can easily find the edema, pain and tenderness in the particular area. Then we can go for the presentation and clinical examination. That is how you are going to find out. So in presentation, the presentation means what the person will be having in them symptoms. So that is pain, tenderness, swelling. That is you can say a physician is going to notice for all these conditions. That is presentation and clinical examination. So the person will be examining pain and tenderness, swelling, then redness, warmth, edema, cyanosis, Homan sign. Homan sign is dorsiflexion of foot while knee is extended. So mainly in this Homan sign examination, we'll ask the patient to lie down flat on a flat surface. Then we will be holding below the calf and will flex his leg. That will, if the patient is having pain, so that shows the positive Homan sign. That means the patient is having DVT. You can see here in physical examination, he is performing Homan signs examination on the patient. Calf pain on dorsiflexion of foot positive in less than 33 of DVT patients and more than 15 patients without DVT. Then you can see other signs like Moses sign, that is gentle squeezing of the lower part of the calf from side to side. In Moses sign, you will be squeezing the calves from side to side. If the person is having pain, so that means the positive Moses sign. Then Neuhoff sign, thickening and deep tenderness elicited while palpating deep in calf muscles. So when you are palpating the calf muscles, you can find the deep tenderness, thickening of the palpation you will be getting. Then Linton sign, after applying tourniquet at saphenofemoral junction, patient made to walk. Then limb is elevated in spine position. Prominent superficial veins will be observed. So you can after tourniquet is removed, you can find the prominent superficial vein that can show the thrombosis formation. Then in clinical examination, you will be palpate distal pulses and evaluate capillary refill to assess limb perfusion. Then move and palpate all joints to detect acute arthritis or other joint pathology. Then neurologic evaluation may detect nerve root irritation, sensory motor and reflex deficits should be noticed. So this clinical presentations and physical examinations will be done to assess whether the patient is having deep vein thrombosis in the lower extremities or not. Mainly you have seen it is in the calf area, so you are going to assess the calf area by Homan sign, Moses sign, Linton sign. So that will be showing whether the patient is actually having the deep vein thrombosis or not. And same in clinical examination also, you are going to check the patient's capillary refill. You will be seeing how movable his joint are, range of motions are present or not. Then you can go for the diagnostic studies. In diagnostic studies, clinical examination you can do. Then you can go for the blood test. In that we'll be doing the dimer test. Then imaging studies. In imaging studies, you can go for invasive and non-invasive procedures. In invasive procedures, you will go for venography, radiolabel fibrinogen. Then non-invasive studies will go for ultrasound, plethysmography, then MRI technique. Then in venography, you can see here, it detects thrombi in both calf and thigh. It can conclude and exclude the diagnosis of DVT when other objective testings are not conclusive. So in venography, mainly there will be visualization of the veins present in the calf. So when you can visualize the vein, you can easily notice whether the deep vein thrombosis is present or not. Then you can go for nuclear medicine studies, because the radioactive isotope incorporates into a growing thrombus. This test can distinguish new clot from an old clot. Nuclear medicine studies done with eye label fibrinogen, more commonly used in research. So you can use radioisotopes for the studying of the clot formation in the human body. Then you can go for the plethysmography. In plethysmography, measures change in lower extremities volume in response to certain stimuli. So you will be trying to know about the volume changes in the extremity that will show you the that will mainly show the formation of the clot in the body. Then you can go for the ultrasonography. Ultrasonography, everyone knows it. It will visualize when you are going to visualize through the ultrasonographic machine. So it will make you to notice whether the blood clot is present or not. Then you can go for the magnetic resonance imaging. It detects legs, pelvis, and pulmonary thrombi in 97% sensitive and 95% specific for DVT. So due to magnetic resonance imaging also, you can easily find out the presence of thrombus in the patient. Then you can go for the differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis means, other than that DVT, what the person can have if the person is having similar symptoms. So a differential diagnosis includes cellulitis, thrombophlebitis, arthritis, then symmetric peripheral edema secondary to coronary heart failure, then liver diseases, renal failure or nephrotic syndrome, then lymphangitis, then extrinsic compression of the iliac vein secondary to tumor, hematoma or abscess, hematoma, lymphedema. Then muscle or soft tissue injury, neurogenic pain, post-phlebitic syndrome, ruptured Baker cyst, stress fractures or other bony lesions, superficial thrombophlebitis. So except in that deep vein thrombosis, this is a secondary differential diagnosis. That is means the person can also have same symptoms with these disease conditions. Then you can go for the management. In management, mainly will go for the general measures that will include bed rest, then encourage the patient to perform gentle foot and leg exercise every hour, increase fluid intake up to 21 days unless contraindicated, avoid deep palpation. So we'll go for the general measures. Mainly if patient is having pain, so we will try to give him comfortable position with the bed rest. Then we will encourage him to have exercise which will help him to have which will help him to get proper circulation of blood in the body. Then we can encourage him to take increase amount of fluid unless it is contraindicated. Then we can go for the specific treatment that includes anticoagulant medications, thrombolytic therapy for DVT, surgery for DVT, filters for DVT, compression stocking. So these are the specific treatments will be given. Anticoagulation medications are given that will help the blood not to get clotted in the body, that will avoid deep vein thrombosis. Same as the thrombolytic therapy also, it will avoid the formation of blood clot. So initial treatment of DVT is with low molecular weight heparin or unfractionated heparin for at least 5 days, followed by warfarin. Target, it can go for at least 3 months. So patient are given mainly initial stage warfarin and heparin with the at least 3 months, that will avoid the formation of clot, or slowly or gradually it will decrease the clot formation. In that you can see here anticoagulation drug. Heparin prevents extension of the thrombus. It is heterogeneous mixture of polysaccharide fragments with varying molecular weight but with similar biological activity. So everyone knows the heparin activity, that is it helps in it does not allow the blood to get clot, and that will not allow the blood to form thrombus. Then except in that, you can go for the surgery. Surgery is indicated when there is severe chance of patient to have death. So in those cases only the surgery is advised. In that case they will be cutting the veins and they will be take out the blood clot, and again they will allow the structures to join together, and so that the blood can flow through them properly. So you can see here indications. When anticoagulant therapy is ineffective, unsafe, contraindicated, the major surgical procedure for DPT are clot removal and partial interruption of the inferior vena cava to prevent pulmonary embolism. As I told, they will cut down the veins and they will take out the clot where is the clot formation, and again they will be stitching it together so that the blood flow can be continuous. Let's summarize the topic. So in today's class we have seen the deep vein thrombosis. Deep vein thrombosis is nothing but the blood clot in the deep vein, usually in the leg. Then it is mainly carrying the three Virchow's triad, that is venous status, hypercoagulable state, endothelial damage. So these three you can say these are the three main causes that can lead to deep vein thrombosis. Then you have seen the clinical manifestations. Then you have seen presentation and clinical examination that will help you to diagnose the patient with deep vein thrombosis. Then you have seen the diagnostic procedures, that is blood test. Blood test includes D dimer. Then imaging studies include venography, radiolabel fibrinogen, then ultrasound, MRI technique, then plethysmography. These are the diagnostic procedures. Then you can go for the management. That management mainly includes the general measures, that has bed rest and encouraging patient to do exercise, then take lots of fluids. Then specific therapy includes anticoagulation, then thrombolytic therapy, surgery for DPT, filters for DVT, and compression stocking. So these are the measures which is helping the patient to control the DVT. So that's all for the today's class. Thank you to all the students.